The Thundercats have had to deal with a lot: the attack from the mutants of Plun'Darr, witnessing the end of their planet, and rebuilding their home on a new planet while actively battling Mumm Ra. Despite all that, they have thrived because they're not only smart and strong, but have the power of loyalty and friendship on their side. One of the most impressive Thundercats is Cheetara, who is gifted with superspeed as well as the ability to see the future through visions. How did she get to master her abilities? Let's find out today as we deep dive into her origin stories. A mother figure. The first story comes to us from the 5-issue miniseries Thundercats Cheetara, written by Sue Lee and illustrated by Domenico Carbone. The story starts in Thundera, a planet so splendid and beautiful you would never find another like it. The breathtaking view is not the only thing that Thundera is known for. It is peaceful and prosperous too. The place was only made special by the people who lived there. The Thunderians are smart, hardworking, and harmonious, and they are the reason why the stability and peace is maintained in Thundera. The planet also has a lot of metals and minerals like silver and platinum, but the most important of them all is Thundranium. This precious metal is the bedrock of Thundera, and everyone relies on it a lot. You could find the most feared and sought after weapons in Thundera, which are forged by the greatest and wielded by the most capable. Thundera has a lot of intelligent beings too, and many of them worked as teachers, ensuring that the future generations of Thundera are filled with scholars. One day, Cheetara and Jaga head to the temple to pray to Thundera, the great hero who created the world and their ancestors. Cheetara wonders if they can hear their prayers, to which Jaga replies that they are always listening, but you could not expect them to answer. Cheetara places flowers by the idol of Thundera and thinks it is strange that they pray to a god whose face they don't know. Jaga quickly corrects her that praying is not about seeing, and Cheetara finishes his sentence that it is about believing. Jaga chuckles as he meant to say it is about faith. The temples were built to pay respects to their gods and ancestors so that they did not forget them, and it was also a place to sharpen their magic and technology, but they are still mere walls. Jaga tells Cheetara that they have to remember the past to propel themselves into the future, and their faceless gods were a part of the past. It was their duty to protect their legacy and history. Cheetara and Jaga walk into the room where the splendid Sword of Omens is kept. They don't know the origins of the temple, but know that in the wrong hands it will cause the destruction of their universe, which is why they guard it with their lives. Cheetara does not like seeing the Sword of Omens so dormant, like an ornament, but there is some consolation in the fact that if it is not being used, they are living in peaceful times. Both the Thundercats agree that it is for the best. The sword was once the most powerful weapon. It was forged by Thundera and could only be wielded by a worthy warrior. As they leave the temple, Cheetara confides in Jaga that if she could, she would spend all her time in the temples, learning about their history, but there is a lot of important work outside of the temples. As they near the city, they are greeted by Thunderians, all wishing them a good day. On the way to their aircraft, they also run into Tigra, their most brilliant and capable scientist. He is off to deliver the construction plans for new ships and can't help but gush over how he is making great headway and will have them up and running in no time. He catches himself as he continues explaining about how he found a better way to utilize Thundranium and apologizes for the blabbering. Cheetara compliments him while wondering out loud where they would be without him. As they gaze into each other's eyes, Jaga tells Cheetara that they need to head back. Tigra bids them adieu and asks whether he will be seeing her later. Cheetara simply says, "Perhaps," as she leaves. As they board their aircraft, Jaga commends Tigra for being so bright and asks Cheetara why she is still ignoring his advances. "I don't know, Jaga. It looked like you were the one who interrupted an intimate moment just seconds ago." Cheetara, ever the duty-bound Thundercat, tells him that there's more important work to be done. In the cat's lair, Lion-O, who is still a child, rushes up to Cheetara and hugs her. Cheetara lifts him up in her arms, returning the affectionate gesture before sending him off to play with Snarf. Their last battle against the mutants of Plun'Darr for the control of their minds had taken a huge toll on their king Cloudus, the Lord of Thundera and father of Lion-O. He was weakened, blinded, and could not care for Lion-O and Thundera on his own. So he assigned the task to the Thundercats, who were just young nobles then, and reserved his energy to only rule from his throne. Cheetara once had a dream of a warrior, and every time she saw Lion-O, she was convinced that he was that warrior. She considered him her responsibility, while Jaga swore to guide the future Thundercats by their sacred code of loyalty, justice, honor, and truth. Cheetara showered Lion-O with her love and brought him up as her own, but both Cheetara and Jaga know that his destiny is to grow to be a strong lord. Panthro and Cheetara spar, and Panthro easily defeats Cheetara. He notices she seems preoccupied and pushes her to spill the beans. Cheetara tells him that there is still a lot to be done, and Panther assures her that if she's worrying about Lion-O, she doesn't need to, as he will be strong one day. That night, as Cheetara puts Lion-O to bed, she tells him about Thundera, the greatest warrior of the land who fought countless battles all over the galaxies. Lion-O drifts off to sleep and calls Cheetara Mother. That night, Cheetara has a lot of dreams. Lion-O being hugged by Claudus, the radiant smile of Tigra, the glowing gem in the hilt of the Sword of Omens, and the complete destruction of Thundera. The last part wakes her up and she is horrified that she had the same dream again. Something new! The next day, the mines of Thundera are attacked by gigantic spiders with glowing red eyes. The ThunderCats are soon alerted and they arrive at the mines. They fight the spiders, which retreat in fear soon. In the mines, Cheetara has the same vision again and sees the mines completely destroyed. It affects her and Tigra notices the sudden shift in her mood. He asks her what's up, but Cheetara doesn't tell him. Later, she tries to tell Jaga about what she saw, but does not find the right words to. So she simply tells him that Lion-O needs to be ready for the future, as she can sense something coming. In the quiet of the night, she heads into the temple and prays to the gods to tell her what she should believe. She sees war and destruction again, and decides to warn Claudus, as it is better to be safe than sorry. Cheetara asks Claudus if they are ready for a larger attack from something outside of their world. Claudus asks her why she expects an attack of that kind. Cheetara has no answer to that and tells him that she worries that Thundera may be vulnerable. Claudus asks her to enjoy the peace they have, as it is not easy to come by, and asks her to trust herself to be able to defend Thundera when the time comes. As she walks away, Claudus tells her that she is the one he trusts the most with their future. Though Claudus appeared unbothered in front of Cheetara, he later asks Jaga whether Cheetara is right. Jaga trusts Cheetara's instincts, but Claudus does not want to take any hasty decisions, as it would unnecessarily worry the people of Thundera. So he asks Jaga to keep monitoring the stars closely and be prepared for another war just in case. Meanwhile, Cheetara takes Lion-O to the temples, and as she shows him around, she stresses on him the importance of camaraderie and reliance on loyal friends. As they head back home, they run into two orphans, Wily Kit and Wily Cat, who are living in a school run by nuns. The two cubs become fast friends with Lion-O and play together. That night, Cheetara has the horrific nightmare once again, Thundera burning to the ground while a distraught Lion-O screams out for help from Cheetara. She wakes up with a gasp. She heads to Lion-O's room to make sure he's safe, and seeing him fast asleep, sighs. On the way back, she sees Tigra on the balcony. The two walk into the garden together, discussing all that they could be doing for Thundera. She lets him know that she has been having nightmares without telling him what they are really about, and Tigra consoles her. As the moment goes tender, the two kiss. Somewhere in the galaxy, the mutants set their course for Thundera. Mutant attack! The most important lesson Cheetara learns is to keep her heart open to her friends and family, and to know when to ask for help. Her romantic relationship with Tigra soon begins to blossom, and despite the chaos of her dreams, Cheetara finds some peace. One day, the ThunderCats spar with each other in the garden while Lion-O plays with Wily Kit and Wily Cat. As Cheetara practices under the watchful eyes of Jaga, she is hit with the vision once again and screams out for Lion-O. Lion-O assumes he's being yelled at for doing something wrong and rushes to Cheetara. Cheetara checks up on him and Lion-O assures her that he's alright. Tigra's worried too, but Panthro tells him to give her some space. She heads to the security room of Thundera, where all threats are monitored, and finds two tiny blips approaching Thundera that disappear within seconds. She brings the blips to Claudus's attention, who brushes it off as something minor. She can't take her mind off of it though, and visits Tigra, who is busy at work in the lab. Unable to hold back anymore, she shares every detail about the nightmares and visions she has been having. Tigra encourages her to share it with the other ThunderCats too, as they are all in this together. That night, she promises Lion-O that she will protect him and will always be there for him as she tucks him into bed. The next morning, a meeting is held with Jaga and the ThunderCats, and Cheetara tells them that she is worried about a danger heading to Thundera. She proposes shutting down the operations in the mine to protect the workers, but Panthro is against it, as Thundranium is their primary resource, and without it, the planet would descend into confusion and fear. Tigra suggests limiting the hours in the mines instead, and increasing security around the perimeters. Before they could discuss further, the alarms go off indicating a breach in their airspace. As the mutants of Plun'Darr land by the Thunderian mines, ThunderCats step out to stop them. A fierce battle ensues, and Panthro focuses on rescuing the miners while the rest take down the mutants. Jaga and Cloudus guard the cat's lair, waiting to intercept the enemy before they get any further. The force and power in which the battle is being fought causes an earthquake, which damages the mines. Cloudus, having had enough, traps most of the mutants in a giant net and is bashed with the terrible vision of the city on fire. In the actual city, Jaga and Cloudus fight off the aggressors while reminiscing about their younger days where they fought side by side. Though they are older and weaker now, they are still far more skilled than the brutal mutants and easily push them into retreating. The city is secured, and Jaga and Cloudus look upon their now plundered city, hoping the ThunderCats are holding up on their own. Jaga assures him that they are undefeatable as long as they are together. True to his point, Tigra, Cheetara, and Panthro join forces to take down the giant monkey mutant attacking them. Once he is down, the mutants rush to their aircrafts in fear, but take the time to threaten Thundera that they will be back again. Jaga checks up on Lion-O, who was hidden in the safe room for the duration of the battle. He praises the boy for being brave. At the mines, the ThunderCats rescue the trapped miners and head back to the city. Cloudus gives them an update about what happened and makes plans for rebuilding the city and mines. Lion-O comes out of the room and, seeing Cheetara okay, runs to give her a hug. Jaga tells Cheetara never to doubt her instincts again, as she can sense things that are about to happen. In the days that follow, the Thunderians rebuild their planet brick by brick in the confidence that they will always have each other's back, no matter what it takes. Cheetara thanks Tigra for believing her even though she was not able to believe herself. Tigra kisses her and tells her that it will all make sense in due time. That night, as everyone sleeps, Cheetara meditates in the temple again to explore her vision. This time, it is crystal clear to her. She sees a volcano whose lava holds a powerful blade. She sees the lava spill into the city and destroy their beloved planet. A clear vision. As soon as Cheetara shares the vision with Jaga, he knows exactly what she's talking about. He takes her to the volcano, and as she nears them, she feels that they are close. She tells Jaga that she saw a blade that kept changing and shifting sizes and shapes. Jaga recognizes the sword as the Sword of Plun'Darr. When Jaga had previously seized the Sword of Plun'Darr, he had sensed its power and knew that if the wrong hands held it, it would destroy them all. So he threw the Sword of Plun'Darr into the mountain, hoping the lava would destroy it and prevent widespread destruction. But now, Jaga believes destruction is inevitable. Jaga confirms Cheetara's fears that Thundera will soon be destroyed and asks her to harness her immense powers in the right moments. Faced with the destruction of their kind, they now have to make plans. This is not the first time Thundera is in trouble, because as long as Thundera existed, there were people who wanted to take control of it through any means necessary, and it would not be the last. They share the news with Cloudus, who apologizes to Cheetara for doubting her and blames his fear for clouding his judgment. Cheetara takes his hand in hers and tells him that she too did not believe herself completely. All three of them know that it is impossible to prevent the Sword of Plun'Darr from reacting, and the obliteration of their planet is inevitable, but they have the technology to escape. They build ships that are powerful enough to handle whatever journey they need to take, and though they don't know when they will need it, the ships will be ready. Cheetara prays that the time never comes. Meanwhile, the nun who looks after Wily Kit and Wily Cat tells Cheetara that they don't have a stable home now, as the school has been under construction since the invasion. Cheetara offers to take them home with her to the royal palace, as they have bonded well with Lion-O and they would enjoy his company. The nun agrees, and the Wily Cubs excitedly ask if this means that they too are a part of the ThunderCats. Cheetara says yes, they are, but they need to train hard. The Cubs promise to do so and continue playing with Lion-O in the gardens. Tigra meets Cheetara there and she kisses him, as he has been working so hard lately. He tells her about how they have increased the Thundranium production and the morale is high as everyone wants to make this happen. Cheetara admits that she still doubts her visions, and as it feels like the sword is hiding from her, she wonders if she really saw it or not. When Tigra points it out, she realizes she is doubting herself again and decides to try harder to break that nasty habit. As the days pass, Lion-O grows stronger and more skilled, and he is finally able to defeat his mentor Jaga in a one-on-one battle. Jaga tells Lion-O that he is proud of him and hugs him. Cheetara interrupts the celebration to tell him that she needs to steal Lion-O away to visit the temple. In the temple, Lion-O asks asks Cheetara if he can be as great as Thundera. Cheetara answers yes, but, and she doesn't need to complete the sentence as Lion-O knows that he needs to take the help of his friends. Jaga and Cheetara both know that he will soon be Lord of the Thundercats, but neither of them know how soon it will be. Lion-O is not ready when he is given the Sword of Omens. He is thrust into that responsibility, but everyone around him believes he could lead, as no one had any idea what they were up against. Though Lion-O does not know anything then, he trusts them all, and the trust between the Thundercats is what helped them survive. We traveled a bit too much into the future. Let's dial it back a bit. As Thundera is pushed to the brink of its destruction, Cheetara looks upon her home with tears in her eyes and wonders what good her powers are if they can't help her prevent the inevitable. Jaga tells her that destiny cannot be prevented, and as Thundercats, it's their duty to protect when chaos is around, to be the hope of the future, to serve, and to rebuild. Though there is wisdom in Jaga's words, it does not help ease the grief of losing their home. With a heavy heart, Cheetara boards the ship out of Thundera, knowing that wherever she lands won't be Thundera. She has hope though, and faith in the future of the Thundercats. More than faith, she has a vision. Meeting with an assassin. Our next story is Thundercats Cheetara, Worldbreaker, written by Nate Cosby, illustrated by David Cousins, with colors by Roshan Caricciano. We begin with Cheetara sleeping. Her mind is cluttered with affirmatives that she is the strongest of her kind, the pride of her people, unique in the universe, and that she will not be defeated. As the day begins, her servants begin their chores of opening her screens, giving her water, and refreshing her vase. The activities wake her up, and one of her servants tells her that Lord Bengali had messaged an hour ago to get her confirmation for accompanying him to Verdo's wedding. Cheetara says yes and starts on her run. She is still in Thundera in this story before it exploded due to one man's selfish desire to own something that wasn't his, and his ability to convince others that they needed to die for it. According to the Book of Omens, Thundera used to be uninhabited once. Alright, don't panic. This is a different continuity than our previous story. So this uninhabited Thundera was noticed by ancient cat-like creatures who decided to make it their home. This event is called the Great Migration. As the cat-like creatures evolved, the most evolved of them and the most noble of them formed the mighty Thundercats. The Book of Omens then goes on to record all the art and advancements in technology and sorcery that came about. That's not very important. What is important is what it foretells. It speaks of the Great War, in which the power-hungry mutants will attack Thundera and destroy everything the benevolent Thundercats have built. The book speaks highly of the way the Thundercats will overcome incredible odds to save the Thunderian way of life. If you are a Thunderian, books do not get better than the Book of Omens. It answers every question, tells you what to think, how to live, who to kill, and it has the foundational tenets over which Thundera was built. Unfortunately, the book did not have any indication that the planet would explode, so one is forced to wonder whether the Book of Omens really contains all of the answers. All of this wondering comes from a mysterious narrator that we are yet to meet. Cheetara, while on her run, encounters an attack by a giant rat and a giant crab-octopus-bird hybrid. I don't know how else to describe the latter abomination, as it has the beak of a bird, a single giant eye, tentacles like an octopus, and claws at the end of tentacles like a crab. Cheetara fights against the creatures with her bow staff. She first drives it through the giant eye of the hybrid creature and blinds it, but is soon caught by the rat, which twists her leg pretty roughly. Panthro intervenes and takes care of the rat, leaving Cheetara to tend to her wound. That evening, Cheetara can barely keep her eyes open as she joins Bengali to attend the wedding. Bengali suggests canceling, but as the wedding is between Claudius's cousin Vidro and the daughter of Derecho's high caste, it would be improper for the nobles to not attend. As soon as they enter the wedding hall, they are greeted by Vidro, who is so drunk that he is slurring his speech already. Weddings are not where Cheetara is comfortable due to her second ability, her connection to the sixth sense, which helped her read minds. As she had not yet mastered this ability, whatever people thought, Cheetara could hear it. She hears the barrage of thoughts by the wedding guests. Some judge the wedding arrangements, some critique the dressing sense of the other guests, and others muse about different things in their life. It is not a peaceful power to have, as she is always racked by the guilt of intruding into others' thoughts and can never have a quiet moment. In the filled sea of thoughts, a waiter's silent mind stands out to her. She approaches the waitress to ask her who she is, but the clever waitress, knowing her questions, interrupts her repeatedly, asking her how she can cater to her, give her wine or food to help help the calories she burnt, or a chair to rest her knee. She tries to ask her, but the waitress does not let her get one word in edgewise, telling her that she has a pronounced limp, and leaves, asking her to call her if she wants anything. Cheetara is dumbfounded, but once she collects herself, she wades through the crowd and catches the waitress once more. The waitress begins speaking over her once more and offers her wine. Having had enough, Cheetara screams at her to stop offering her things and tell her why she can't see her thoughts, but she cannot finish her sentence once again, as everyone turns to see who's yelling. Bengali makes sure Cheetara is alright and assuring him that nothing's wrong. She follows the waitress to the kitchen's balcony. The waitress goes on a monologue about how she fancied herself an actor in her youth, and was very convincing too. Cheetara demands her name angrily. The waitress, with a smile, tells her that she doesn't want to know her name, and wants to know why she can't see her thoughts. Cheetara surmises that the waitress has powers like her too, and is eager to tell Jaga, but the waitress wants to be left alone with her bottle, as she thinks the sixth sense is a curse. Cheetara, in an optimistic tone, tells her that though the power is unpleasant, they could use it to see the future. The waitress mocks her need to stop the mutants and save everyone. Cheetara tries to convince her by quoting the Book of Omens, but the waitress thinks it's a fairy tale, as it has caused her more pain and suffering than any villain in the galaxy. Cheetara accuses her of blasphemy. Suddenly, Cheetara's thoughts become louder and she hears the waitress inside her mind. She tells Cheetara that she is not her kind, and not from this universe, so it was not her business what the waitress gets up to. Cheetara leaves her alone, troubled with the thoughts, and joins Cloudus and Jaga. Seeing her distant expression, Jaga asks her to try and enjoy, as they rarely get free time. A sudden scream interrupts the conversation, and they see the newly married bridegroom Vidro dead and bleeding, as his bride holds him and weeps. Cheetara is off before Jaga can tell her to alert the Thundercats. She rushes out, knowing that the waitress is to blame. The waitress calmly wipes the blade of the knife she stabbed Vidro with and hides in plain sight. She considers the Thundercats as servants to the writer of the Book of Omens, who is a thief and a liar. She follows no book, and she is Bay, the daughter of a Thunderian and a mutant. The only thing she is good at is breaking worlds. As she walks away, the mutants congratulate her on a job well done. These were two amazing stories of Cheetara from Thundera. I loved both stories, but Thundercats Cheetara Worldbreaker takes the cake for me, as the art style is a personal favorite, and I'm a sucker for impressive villainesses. Which one of the stories did you like? Let me know in the comments below, and if you liked the video, smash that thumbs up, that red subscribe button, and ring that bell icon to always stay up to date with our wonderful channel. We will soon be back with more awesome content, but until then, take care and goodbye!